Welcome to the Kano Cabinet Shop. Today's video will be the first one about the school box. It'll be how I pick out the lumber, mark out the pieces, and prepare them for the actual school box. So the first thing I look for is at the ends, because I know this is a good, the ends are, factory ends are pretty good at being square. So I like to choose the ends so that I have 15 inches on each side of them, because that way the 15 inches would be the long edges. And what I've done is I've made this little helper so that I can, because I do this all the time, and to make it easy on me. So I will lay this out on the board. I'll take my marking knife, and the reason you use a knife instead of a pencil is because when you use the pencil, the lead tends to blunt and get bigger, but the knife edge never really changes. So I'll mark the edges, and then I'll go and do that on the other side when I get to it. Then I'll take my combination square and lightly make a mark across. You don't want to drag too heavy the first couple times, because you tend to follow the grain a little bit, and sometimes the mark could be off. So if you, let me mark this. And I failed to mention, when I look, I try to find the end where I'm not hitting the knot, because I want the, I'm going to be cutting out all the knots, and I'd rather just have the wood and no knots. But sometimes it's hard to avoid the knots. The next step is to take what they call a bench hook. And basically it's just a board on one side and the other to help make a straight saw cut. If it were only that easy. But you see right now the board's not going to move. Let me slide it down a little bit. And since there is a little bit of a balance here, I'll put something heavy. That's one thing I like about benches like this, where the bottom of it is basically a clamping surface. Okay, so this board's not going to move. So the next step is to take my chisel and take the and make a little mark with the chisel. Now that I made my mark all the way down on the waist side, I'm going to take and I'm going to go and just make a little V-notch. That's something to help keep the saw straight when I make my cut. Doesn't always work, but I got a little groove all the way down. The one thing that's important is to make sure you keep the chisel blades going away from you, because you can have a really nasty cut if you don't. So I made a little channel, and this is where the fun begins. And a little, I wouldn't say fun, but some of the anxiety to see if I can actually cut this straight down. Okay, so we got the first piece. And I take my square, get those off, and I don't know if you can see that, but this one's really close to being square all the way across the top. It's like sometimes I get lucky. And it looks like I got lucky on this one. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to see what side I like to be the front of the box and the back, and they both look pretty good, so I'm just gonna mark this so I know this is going to be the back, and I'll make a little 1 and a 4 so I know. That's how I mark my pieces. And I'm going to make a little triangle so I know which side is up. And when I sand, this is going to be the inside, so it's not really going to show anyway. That's pretty close to the center. When I install the lock, that might go away anyway, but I'll sand those marks away. Okay, well, since I got one box or one side pretty well done, did I mark that edge? Because I'm going to use that. I'm pretty well done on this side, so I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to cut out the other pieces. So I'll catch you when I get the other pieces cut out. Okay, so I had one board that came out perfect. The other three I'm off just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shooting board and my low angle jack to plane this down so this is a totally flat surface. The reason it's ramped is so that the blade will start at one height and gradually work the entire length of the blade. That way I don't have to sharpen as frequently. So what I do is I put the two factory edges together, and this one's a little bit longer, but you know, that's okay, you know, because I got to take it off. I'll take some off anyway. So basically, you just feed the board. Keep checking to see how much more I gotta go. I'm good at the top, at the bottom here. I got a little more to go, which I'm not surprised. That looks pretty good. looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the other two boards, and the next time we'll lay out the dovetails and the pins. Okay, all the boards are square. They're the two long pieces are the same length. The two side pieces are the same length. So we're all ready for the next step, which would be to lay the dovetails and stuff out, but we'll work on that another day. And if you look at the board, I still have enough in there to make one long piece and two of the small pieces, just in case I really mess up. But I'm hoping I don't mess up anymore. But it's been known to happen. I have a lot of stuff that didn't make it in the fire pit. So anyway, maybe tomorrow we'll lay out the dovetails, but who knows. But anyway, that's enough for today. Thanks for showing up.